This is a video of the Roots and Harvest Black Garlic Multi-Purpose Fermenter, and I got one of those, and even though it has a display that says the temperature, I found that the actual inside temperature wasn't getting as hot as the display said. And so as a result, when the garlic was supposed to be ready, it really wasn't. It was sort of brown and didn't have the right flavor. So I did some investigations and found out what the problem is. So this is a video to show what the problem is if you have such a problem with it and how to fix it. So this is the device, and you can see you open the lid and it has this little cage in here that you put the garlics in, and that's kind of nifty. It works fine. And there's also a bowl that the cage fits into, so you take all that out, and then I'll show you when we take it apart, but you can see through this little hole here is the plate that generates the heat. And the problem is that that plate sometimes isn't up firmly enough against the bottom. So the first step is to take the bottom off, and it's quite simple. There's only one screw. Can you hold this tight? So you have to remove this one screw. And then turn it on its side. Okay, so you hold this. So now taking the bottom off, it's quite simple. You just need to pry it. There you go. Actually, it already started coming off at the other end. It's convenient. So you see it just pops on, has these little ridges that pop it in, so there's nothing else holding it. Now, of course, you need to remove this little socket from its clips. Just push the little things out sideways and pop it up so you can get this out of the way. And then you can see where the problem is. There's this thermistor here, which is the heating source, and it's screwed on here, and it's designed to have this tab lock in. So the way these are usually assembled is there's a little tab hole, put the tab in, push it down, put the one screw in, and it's done. So that's to avoid having to have two screws. But in this case, this tab doesn't go with anything, so it's sort of just hanging out loose here, and so it's not making good firm contact. So very simple. You just take this screw off, which you do by coming from the inside here. So now you see this is loose. And so the problem is that it's not held tightly against here. So solution is thermally conductive silicone adhesive is my attempt to fix it. One could make a little hole, put a tab in, lock it on tight, but this is a convenient way to do it. So you can't just use any silicone adhesive because silicone adhesive is not very thermally conductive, so you need to get a special thermally conductive silicone adhesive. And so I suggest filling in this groove begin with. And then put some more just on the back here. Better off having too much than too little. It'll just squeeze out the sides. That might be a problem. More or less centered there. We can adjust that after we get the screw in. So I'm going to replace the screw that was holding it on. Although actually before I do that, I should do, you see this tab is actually bent slightly backwards, which then allows this plate to fall away. So I'm going to gently just bend it a little bit so that way it pulls the plate in rather than letting it flop out. Okay. Okay, so now press this down firmly, wiggle a little bit. And that's it. So now I'm going to hold this in this position for a while to let it start to get firm. So, all right, so this is tacky enough that I presume it's going to stay in place because there's no forces acting on pulling it off. It takes 24 hours for that stuff to harden up. And so we put this back in here again, which is very simply popping it in. And then you have to line up the hole with the bracket that goes in. Just simply push it back on. So now that thermal plate being firmly attached to the bottom will make the bottom of this plate be the right temperature, and so then that will heat this up correctly, which will heat up the garlics in here, and we'll be fine. So the confusing part is that the temperature gauge on the front here actually showed the correct temperature because it's measuring the temperature not of the inside of this container, it's measuring the temperature of that little plate. So even if the plate is not firmly attached, it's perfectly happy. It says it's the right temperature, but the garlic's maybe 20 degrees cooler. So this should fix it. I'll wait 24 hours and then turn it on. It should work.